Hey, beautiful souls, beautiful sunshine here with DR Holistic Healer, aka Sonia B. I am back with two quick prophetic messages that I received this morning, and I'm just gonna get straight into the message and bypass all the other message. If you're new to my channel, I just want to say welcome, and for those of you who are returning back, I want to say welcome back. And keep in mind, I believe that these energies are happening right now. Um, and if it's not happening right now for you, it could be happening within a couple of days for you. But anyway, so with all that being said, let's get straight into the message. So the message that I received was, it came in a form as if I was standing in this room. It's not even my bedroom like today. So I was standing in this room that appeared to be my bedroom. I got the feeling like it was on the bottom floor. So with that being said, I don't live on a bottom floor apartment, but it came in a sense like I was on a bottom floor apartment. Thank you, Spirit. They just brought that to my revelation. I was standing in a room, in a bedroom, inside the apartment of a bottom floor apartment. And I remember it was kind of like myself. Um, it was myself, my mom, and my daughter. So that's three different generations right there. So with that being said, we were standing in this room, and all of a sudden I heard I got the feeling like I heard like I heard somebody speaking outside of the window, and I heard a gentleman telling another gentleman he got shot in the head. And don't be alarmed by this. So hopefully this is not happening to someone, but I didn't get it from a negative. It didn't come to me from a negative point of view when I received it in a dream. But I heard one gentleman saying to the other gentleman that he got shot in the head. And then so next thing you know, shortly after that, I heard kind of like, it's almost like I heard shots being fired, because I remember as the shots were being fired, as myself, my daughter, and my mom was standing inside this bottom floor apartment bedroom, I ducked down onto the floor. And I got down onto the floor like as if it was just like a calm routine of, think about a airline stewardess when she's giving the directions of an emergency, how to exit. So I was doing it so very calmly and very peacefully, and I wasn't alarmed. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't frantic. I just got down on the floor very calm and peacefully, as if we was doing like a little drill, should I say. So that was just letting me know that I didn't get the dream like it was coming from a negative point of view. But so after I got down on the floor, it's like my mom and my daughter had followed me as well. So with that being said, some of you guys are in situations to where it's dealing with like three different generations, should I say. And it's almost like you're setting the example for the other generations to come, and even a generation that was ahead of you. I know it may sound as weird, because normally it's the situation of, thank you, Spirit, just gave me that revelation. Anyway, so normally it's you setting a pattern. Normally it's you setting an example for the generations behind you, but obviously you're setting a pattern for the generation that was ahead of you, which would be like your mom or your dad, as well as the generation behind you. So in other words, that just lets me know that some of you guys are going to find yourself being in positions to where you're leading and guiding people, and people are going to be following your example. So just be sure to make sure that you're leading by example. But not only that, just know that you're human too, and know that we all make mistakes in the process of, just when doing certain things. But at the same time, it's very important to just make sure you take time out for yourself, to always try to go within, to listen to the Holy Spirit, to that way the Holy Spirit can lead you and guide you and order your steps and direct your path, so that sometimes that we don't end up making little small mistakes along the way. Anyway, so that scene had skipped into the dream. Okay, it didn't skip. So the scene didn't switch. I'm sorry. The scene didn't switch. The scene stayed the same. This is for another group of people. This message is for you guys. So, the scene stayed the same, which was still in the bottom floor of an apartment. And the only thing changed were the people, two people. Actually, this came in a form as if it was Okay, so three different people was in this second dream, but the same three people who was in the first dream, as the people switch scenes, um but the scene stayed the same, if that makes sense. So anyway, it came in a form as if there was a situation of you know a spouse and their significant other, should I say. It came in a form as if the husband and the wife were trying to have an intimate moment, should I say. Um, More of like a little bit of foreplay type energy and not necessarily penetrating anything. We're all adults here, so bear with me. And I'm not trying to tempt anybody, so I'm just trying to be mindful of my words or whatever. So anyway, with that being said, there was no sexual activity, but there was a little bit of foreplay that was taking place. So it came up as if there was like an adult child that walked in on the foreplay that was happening, and she walked in and she came in, she kissed her dad on the lips and she said, "Hi, Dad." And then she basically walked out. So I say all that to say, it wasn't like I heard a knock or anything at the door. It was just like the child just had appeared in the middle of the couple having a little bit of, a little bit of foreplay, sensual pleasure time, just however you want to refer to it as. But anyway, so with that being said, it's like, it was like, for the wife, it was something that was being caught off guard. And for the husband, he acted as if that was a normal situation. So, with all that being said, because that was the end of the dream. So, with all that being said, okay, so I'm going to tie it back to the first dream as well as this dream. So, the first dream was pertaining to when the man, I heard the man said he got shot in the head. Some of you are being divinely guided to change your perspective on things. So, the representation of somebody being shot in the head, it was a representation or symbolism more so of changing the way that you look at things, changing the way that you respond to things, and changing your mindset in regards to a certain situation that is pertaining to love. Because for some particular reason, when I woke up from that dream, I kept hearing like Cupid's arrow, Cupid's arrow. So I was like, well, what does that mean, Lord? And it was like, I was like hearing, it was more so of Cupid's arrow was shooting him in the head and not necessarily, being shot by a gun or whatever. So in other words, it's almost like Cupid is almost trying to get you to change your perspective on a love situation, in a sense. How you handle the situation with love. It's almost like the way that you thought that you needed to handle certain situations. And what I'm hearing Spirit say right now is, some of your thinking has been outdated. Some of that thinking has come from, past generations. And it's almost like you're needing to clear out that mindset of maybe like what your father may have thought, what your grandfather may have thought, and what his father may have thought in generations before that. It's almost like clearing out that mindset of that mentality of what they had and what they thought and how they appeared, and how they went about handling love situations, in a sense. So in other words, what I'm hearing Spirit say right now is just look at your situation right now and ask yourself, are you repeating the same patterns of your father, your grandfather, and on down the line as far as you can remember? Just ask yourself and just look at yourself and look at your dynamic, look at your situation and ask yourself, are you in the same situation and dynamic that your father was in, should I say? So that right there is a key alone to just letting you know that certain patterns and habits have been continued from one generation to another. In order to stop that, and keep it from going down to your own personal children, it doesn't matter who you are. This could apply to a male or this could apply to a female, even though it showed up in the dream as a, this happening to a male. But again, we all have masculine and feminine energy, so take it how it resonates. If you're the one who's been carrying on the same pattern and mindset as, your forefathers, or, so on and so on, then this message is for you. And if you haven't been the one of if you've been the one of trying to break those family cycles, then this message is not necessarily for you, but it could be happening to somebody else that is close to you. So anyway, with all that being said, you have to look at your dynamic and just basically evaluate yourself and ask yourself again, am I repeating the same cycles that my father repeated, my grandfather repeated? And, thank you, Spirit. And I'm even hearing Spirit say, look at your uncles. Look at your uncles, look at your aunts, and just look at, their relationships and how they've handled relationships, in a sense. And and you could probably get a more clear perspective on just kind of sitting back and just just watching other family members or thinking back to other family members, and you'll probably most likely see those patterns that are there that are meant to come up for healing so that you can change the way you think. Again, because it's like Cupid is here, love is trying to come in, but there are things that are preventing you from allowing it to come in because so a spirit basically is trying to break you of the bad habits, um, trying to get you out of that old stuck mindset of how you need to handle situations, because those situations of how your father may have handled it, how your grandfather may have handled it, and so on, obviously it has not worked. It has not worked because the patterns have been repeated, and no one has, in other words, fixed the situation. So it's almost like you're being left to fix it. Will you continue the same cycle as them, or will you break the cycle for your own kids going forward? Anyway, so and I'm even hearing spirit say you can even look at your own kids just to see how they operate, and if you have young adult children, just to see if they operate in the same way maybe that you have. And in order to kind of like help that situation, again, it's a matter of you stepping up to the plate, whoever you are, whoever this message is meant for, and whoever this message is resonate, stepping up to the plate and changing your mindset so that way that it can help future generations to come. So anyway, but in regards to the child walking in while the husband and the wife was trying to have an intimate moment, should I say, this is more so this is coming from a place of, it's like, of course, as a dad and of course as a child, you should have a healthy relationship, but there should all, thank you, Spirit. I'm hearing Spirit say that there should also be boundaries in place as well too. I know that some of you guys have some of you guys have done situations, whether you realize it or not, cord cutting in the spiritual realm, should I say. And some of you may not have done cord cuttings. Just imagine yourself cutting cords off some people, who you feel like you can't necessarily shake, or people you feel like you feel really codependent on, is what I'm hearing. So, and even some of you guys may need to do cord cutting with people that you may have just coworkers, people that you may have been around with, people who you feel like you can't shake, and people you feel like who constantly feel like they're attached to you, because that's one way of realizing that sometimes we are acting and responding in certain ways, not only be due to generational patterns, but because we're also picking up on other people's stuff as well too. Because whether we realize it or not, energetic cords are being attached to people. The more you're around somebody, it's almost like embedding, connecting cords to one another. And sometimes, you have to connect those cords in order to disconnect your energy from other people, because if not, sometimes it's almost like they feed off your energy in a sense. So I say all that to say that some of you need to do this even with your children, should I say, adult children, and even if it's younger children, I don't know, take it how it resonates, but that's how I'm seeing it, because it should be more of a healthy balance, and not to the point that your relationship with your kids should outweigh your relationship with your spouse, should I say. That should be the healthy balance between the both of them, and everybody should know their place, not one above the other one. And I mean, not so much as your children above your relationship. It's that balance. You have to find that balance. How you are. If you're someone who's just basically considering knowing that you're in a relationship, should I say, and you're prioritizing adult children over your marriage or your relationships. And I'm gonna say marriage because I say that to say, because these are people who are tied, and they came before God and they have a commitment, and so on and so on. So I can't speak for other people, but if you are someone who has been using your children to keep you from experiencing love, then that's messages for you also. Just take it how it resonates. But anyway, with all that being said, the point I'm trying to make is basically I saw again a spouse, and he was just basically not really having any boundaries with his adult children, should I say, even when him and his wife was trying to have an intimate moment. So again, as I said, some of you guys need to do cord cutting, even if you have to do it. But just because you're cord cutting, especially with your children, doesn't necessarily mean that you're disconnecting your energy from them. It's just basically you're setting up healthy boundaries with them. Basically, In other words, keeping people out of your relationship status. In other words, so with all that being said, and some of it, thank you, Spirit. I'm hearing Spirit say too that some of you guys might want to, you probably benefit from taking a spiritual bath. Spiritual bath is very important. I know for myself, I do this on a weekly basis, and I basically cleanse myself from, just other people's energy, as well as, you know, people's, and any negative energy that oh God, forgive me. I'm sorry, because I'm just really laid back as I'm trying to give this message. I cleanse myself from any and all negative energy that I may have either been around, not necessarily been around, but just like going to the grocery store, or, speaking to somebody on the phone, because believe it or not, people can attach their energies to us too, even just by having a simple conversation. That's why I always make it a point after I'm done speaking to people, I disconnect my energy and I cut cords with them, so that way that I'm not tied to them in a sense. I don't have to feel what they feel, and, so on and so on. But anyway, so you guys take that message how it resonates, and hopefully you understand what it is I'm trying to say. But oh, let me tell you this too. So the message that came through for the song was the song Tell Me What You Want, Tell Me What You Need. I forgot who sung that song, but I will put it in the description box below. Tell me what you want, tell me what you need, tell me if it ain't good enough for you, baby. Is that Dru Hill? I think so. Anyway, I'll put in the description box. So that was the message that came through. So I don't know who needs to hear that message. But again, this is letting you know these are the energies that we're in right now, that God Soul Spirit is trying to get you guys to basically crossing those T's and dotting those I's before, you and your kingdom spouse fully connect. The last thing God wants to do is have, you and your spouse connect, and then, you have all these distractions and you have all these people interfering, with your relationship, in a sense that it keeps you two from really connecting, should I say. So he's trying to get all of these distractions and release all of these burdens and debris and, energies that may be around some of you guys, especially if you guys go around other people. Just think about when you're constantly around other people, those people's energy are within your energetic field. So it's almost like makes it hard for a relationship to come through when other people's energy is entwined with your energy field. In other words, so because if you're around somebody who, let's just say, maybe has a spouse, and let's just say hypothetically they have a spouse, and they're maybe at odds with their spouse, not really feeling them, or feeling that, oh my God, I can't stand you right now. And then if you're around them and you're not knowing that they're going through that situation, then you take on that same energy and you start to feel that same way, just conjuring up other negative situations that may have happened to you and your spouse in the past. So therefore, spouse, or or a love interest, should I say, take it how it resonates, conjuring up, oh, what this person did this to me, and oh, I can't stand them now too. So that's why I say, you have to be very careful who you intertwine your energy with, and who you constantly find yourself always around, because as I said before, that some of you guys are empaths, and you pick up on other people's stuff and don't even realize it. And sometimes you take it on as your own, as if you think it's your stuff, and it really isn't your stuff. But the only way to figure that out is by, allowing yourself to have that quiet time and not being around too many people, to the point that you're able to distinguish what's your energy and what's somebody else's energy. So anyway, with all that being said, that is the message that I have for you guys. So, I've delivered the message, so take it how you want. So you guys stay beautiful, stay blessed, and remember to always keep God first. And I say namaste. Bye.